Hi friends, this is the Bijou Baker. I'm Maria. Today's video is going to be in two parts. The first video I'm going to show you about whipped cream icing, perhaps one of my absolute favorite icings to work with and to eat. It's good, but you need to have a stabilizer in the whipped cream. I'm going to show you two different whipped creams to use. One of them is the one that is used 98% of the time by myself when I make whipped cream, and about the same for professional bakeries. It's a phenomenal product, but it's not readily available to everybody. So if you're lucky enough to have access to this whipped cream, I highly recommend it. If you're not, I'm going to show you how to make heavy cream just as sturdy. And by sturdy, I mean you're going to add a stabilizer, and what that does is it's going to keep the cake, the icing from melting and flopping and just drooping. You know, nobody wants that. You go to so much trouble to make it beautiful. Last thing you want is the heat to mess it up for you, and that's usually what's going to do it. Stabilizing it is very simple, and but you need to add a few flavors to it otherwise it's going to taste like whipped milk. It's okay if you love whipped milk, but whipped cream is so much better. Let's see. Then I'm going to show you how to ice and decorate a cake. I know you guys have been waiting so long for this, and I thank you. But it's going to pay off. There's going to be a lot of fun things to do on one little round cake. As far as stabilizers, I was going to say something. It'll kick in later. So let me show you the item that I'm talking about. It's called Pastry Pride, and this is a vanilla pastry pie. I get it at Smart and Final. I don't know if you guys have one near you, but if you do, I usually buy a case and keep it in the freezer because it's just that good. And you can do so much with it, even just dessert toppings. And if you, my grandson, weird as he is, loves that spray icing, whipped icing. Oh my, I can't stomach that stuff. So if you make this stuff and put it on top of your ice creams, a world of difference in look and texture and taste. You get spoiled with this stuff, I'm telling you. So if you can find this is definitely not something you're going to want to order on Amazon unless you have like the hour delivery kind of thing. Maybe, I don't even know if they have it. It's a non-dairy whipped topping, so if someone is particularly sensitive to dairy, I haven't had anybody complain about it, and I've made cakes for tons of people who've been dairy sensitive, so keep that in mind. The other thing is I'm going to make is just heavy cream. It's in here, and it's thick, and so I'm going to whip up this heavy cream. So I'm going to get my mixers going in two different ways because I want to show you. So let me start off with the heavy cream. Well, I'll make that first. Okay, so I have about a cup of heavy cream, and I'm mixing it. See how thick it is? It just gets really thick. That's a good thing. And you want to start off with either the cream and or the bowl cold. Some people put the stainless steel bowl in the freezer until they're ready to use. That's great. It's just going to whip up that much faster. I'll keep my liquids cool, and then use from there. I don't have an issue with it. So you're going to take about, just for this, you're not going to use a cup of whipped cream for your icing. If you're going to do a cake, you're going to use a lot more. You'll probably use like 4 cups to get a good cake icing and decorating whipped cream. But to that, you're going to add a half a cup of powdered sugar. In the powdered sugar, I added 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. That's your stabilizer. That's the baby that's going to keep it from drooping. If you're making wedding cakes and if you're baking for profit, the last thing you want is to deliver a cake and then hear the next day that the icing just fell off the cake. You don't want that. So the cornstarch mixed up in the powdered sugar. The powdered sugar is going to give it its sweetness, and we're going to put a little vanilla. So then we're having a good tasting vanilla whipped cream. the, like I said, if you're baking for higher, chances are you're doing a cake that's going to sit out for hours. And if it's a wedding cake, a lot of hours, especially if it's a Latino wedding cake. I mean, we're talking hours, you know. So you want to make sure that your product is going to be as good when they cut it as when you deliver it. So that's what the cornstarch is going to do. It'll keep it firm, it'll keep it stiff, it'll keep it in place. Okay, so let me set things up, and I'm going to show you how to make the whipped cream just from the heavy cream that you can get at the store. All right. Okay, so I'm going to add my heavy cream into my bowl, and you're going to use a whisk attachment, and I'm just going to whisk this on high since there's so little. Okay. Before I let it go too far, I'm going to go ahead and add the powdered sugar and cornstarch. And I'm doing it here while it's at a liquid stage so that it'll really dissolve both. I know I overmeasured, so I'm not putting the whole thing in. All right, let's let this work. Before I let it go too far, I'm going to lower it a little bit and add some vanilla. And pick up the speed. Oh man, that smells so good. You can see that it's getting a little bit thicker when you see the cracks of the beater. But this does take a while, so just be patient. Okay, so I've got it to a good soft consistency, which is where I want it. And do you remember that? Here, let me talk to you here. Remember that fruit compote that I made way back when? And here's the video on how to do it. Well, I have some. I'm going to put this inside of this for my filling for the cake that I'm going to make. While I have this here and while I have it going, I'm going to just go ahead and finish this up and put, I don't know, just, there is no real recipe. You don't want to put so much that it waters it down, but you want enough where that it's gonna taste very berry. So let's sorry guys, I hate to do this to you. In fact, let me just not do that. All right, I'm just gonna add, I don't know, that looks about right. Whatever that might be. And then whip it up. This will go in between the layers of my cake. And then I'm also going to put some of the other stuff that I just made. See how it's turning that beautiful pink berry color? Alright, I don't want to whip it too much. There we go. Okay, so I have that done and set aside for the cake. Now, it took a lot longer to whip up because I only made 1 cup. And the ball of the whisk didn't get in to do the meat of the work. So when you have more liquid to get right where the ball is, it's going to whip up a lot faster. So that just took like forever. So, but I never make 1 cup. So what do I know? Well, now I know. All right, this thing, this baby, and this mixer, I love Diana Prince. Don't get me wrong. I love my Wonder Woman, but I've got 5 different mixers, and the KitchenAids have always just knocked them out of the park. And they are great workhorses. I can't say enough about it. One day I'm watching a video on Facebook, and they're making, I don't even know what they were making. I saw the mixer and my jaw dropped. So I literally picked it up, locked it into place, and went to go buy it. This baby is gorgeous. It's kind of a lot like me. Not much to look at, but man, it's got some power to it. Right? No, really. Watch, and it's gonna whip this stuff up in a fraction. And when you see the beaters beating and doing their dance, you'll see why. All right. So I'm gonna move you over so that you can see everything better, and then we'll. I can't wait to decorate. That's really what I'm waiting for. All right. All right. This is a Bosch Universal Plus. It's a Bosch. I'll just leave it at that. I'm going to take my container of Pastry Pride, and I'm going to shake this baby up and pour it in. And this will produce a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the whole thing in. Usually with the KitchenAid, I do have to, I don't like wasting, can you tell? With the KitchenAid, I usually do have to do it in portions. But my little Maria here gets the job done without question. All right. Is that cool or what? Yep, that's it. You beautiful beast, you. So, that's why I love that baby. Sorry, guys. Okay, that's it. It took, I'm going to exaggerate if I said 3 minutes. That one took about 15. But again, to be fair, that one was only 1 cup. Had I put the same amount in there, it would probably take about 12. But it's still not 3. So there's your icing. You got your 2 types of whipped cream icing. You can make this absolutely if you don't have access to Pastry Pride, but if you have access to it, it's fantastic. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to ice and decorate a cake. I can't wait. All right, until next time, happy baking.
Ah, that was fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe.